Hi, my name's Jason. I wasn't happy with how the video turned out today. That's pretty typical for me. I'm kind of a perfectionist, but I wanted to put a little forward on here and tell you why I included the blooper tracks in today's video. One of the things I've been anxious about ever since I started this journey is filming. In fact, some days I find that the thing I'm the most anxious about isn't the regimen that I'm pursuing, and how it's going to affect me. It's actually making this video at night. And I was listening to a YouTube commentator, and he mentioned that one of the ways to overcome your fears is just to show your dirty laundry, show people your practice. And when you're a perfectionist, that's really hard to do. You don't want people to see a flawed product. You don't want them to think you're flawed. You want them to think you're articulate, that you always say the right thing, that you're intelligent, and it just comes through without any kind of blemish. And I can't live like that anymore. I need you to know exactly what I am. I'm flawed. I'm not good at this. It takes a ton out of me to make these videos, but I don't want it to anymore. I want to be able to just go through my day relaxed and focusing on my own rehab, and then coming home and just talking to a friend on a camera, the same way I talk to my wife or talk to my mom, and share my insights with them without any fear about how that makes me look, whether I'm coming across clearly or not, whether I'm stuttering or not, whether I have the right words or not. And so this is my attempt, if you will, to overcome that fear. And I believe in fighting for my life in every area, and this is one of the areas that's just kind of plaguing me. I can't become who I need to become unless I'm comfortable being a public person. I have to share my story. I have to be able to connect with people, and I can't do that if I'm hunkered down in a cave, afraid to come out. And so this is kind of my coming out video. And I hope you enjoy the bloopers and realize who I am and can accept me for my flaws, because I'm trying to, and it's really, really hard. Enjoy. I'll try not to look so. I'll try not to look stiff.
Relaxed.
Okay. Day, I don't know which. And what if you need to change it? Kind of down. Damn it. But I'm doing what I can. Shit. Ourselves. Sorry. On to the topic of the day. It's week 8, day 53 of my full-time chronic pain rehabilitation journey. My name's Jason, and today I'm going to talk about the most important conversation you'll ever have, the conversation you have with yourself. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to share a tip that I just learned about resistance training that I never knew, that I think is pretty revolutionary and can change the way you train your body. First though, a status update. I'm not doing too well. I've been trying to shoot this video about 3 or 4 times, and I can't quite get through it. The reason is, I think, the ketamine treatment that I had yesterday. Whenever I have a ketamine treatment, it's a psychedelic for anxiety and depression. The next day, I just feel frazzled and tired. And not only that, my pain level's really high, and I'm trying to eat low carbs. Put all 3 together, and I struggle, and I'm not going to try to hide it anymore. So I am struggling, and if I can't quite pull this video together, I apologize. Actually, I don't. I'm doing the best I can. Just live with it. Because of the ketamine today, when I got in the cold tub for the 3rd time, I almost panicked. That's never happened before. And the way that I got through it was, I have a list of affirmations that I read to myself. Well, I memorized them actually. And I recite those in the tub, and that brought me back to my center. It was still really difficult, and I really wanted to get out. And I don't know how this happened. I've been getting in for over 30 days, every day, and I've never had a feeling of panic. But today I did, but I endured it. And even though I was feeling down, I have a personal record. I swam 32 consecutive freestyle laps. That is my all-time best, the farthest I've ever swam. And I swam for the longest I've ever swam, 40 consecutive minutes. Granted, it's not my best time, but I gave what I could and exceeded a little bit where I thought I could. I thought about swimming sprint laps today, but decided not to because I just didn't have the energy, but I swam for longer, a little bit slower, because that's something I could do. On to the topic of the day, the conversation you have with yourself. Let's be honest, we all talk to ourselves. We may not say it out loud. I'm one of the people that does. Sometimes. But we all speak to ourselves, and these conversations become pretty entrenched. I'd call them scripts, and we repeat them over and over and over again. But what if those scripts turn toxic? What do you do then? Well, I think I have a remedy, and I want to share it with you. I think it's tied to your identity. If you develop a toxic identity, your scripts will also turn toxic. And they kind of reinforce one another. So it's not clear which one causes which, and I don't think it really matters to know that, but they're definitely related. And the way I've turned my toxic scripts around is by changing my toxic identity. So first, what does a toxic identity look like? Well, it has a now focus, who you are now, and a then focus or a future focus, who you're going to become. And the now focus typically is on things you don't like about yourself, something like I'm fat. And your future focus is usually on something that you can't change, something like I'll never be able to run again. A healthy or a more healthy identity, there's always going to be a little bit of you that's toxic. I'm not saying this is going to be a complete transition or changeover, but a healthy identity moves more in a different direction. It has the same now focus and future focus. They're different in a significant way. The now focus is about things I like about myself right now. For example, I have a good heart. Or future focus, the future focus is about things I can change. For example, I want to strive harder each day. And so as you move from this toxic identity to a more healthy identity, you'll be able to change the way you feel about yourself over time. It's not instantaneous. It's kind of like diverting a river. It takes practice and time, but it can be done if you're steady and consistent about it. All right, I have an example of how to figure out what you like about yourself now. A lot of people who struggle with chronic conditions and are depressed don't like themselves very much, and they've kind of forgotten what they do like about themselves, if anything. So how do you find that thing you like? And I have an example that might help. Sometimes when we're at our worst, or we think we're at our worst, it reveals something beautiful about us. And I have a friend who is like this. She's very thoughtful. This is kind of an obvious good thing about her. She scours the internet, looks for resources to help people in need, and sends them to them. And this is the part where she does something that I think she feels makes her look bad. She gets depressed when they don't respond, when she sent these things to them, or feels like it hasn't made any impact in their lives. And although she doesn't like these depressive feelings, I think they reveal something beautiful about her that she could hold on to and, treasure up and believe that she has a beautiful side to herself, a more beautiful side that she's willing to acknowledge. And the beauty is, not only does she scour the internet and send these resources to people, she cares about whether they use them or not and whether they make a difference in those people's lives. That to me is something beautiful. As you're looking at yourself, try to think about situations in which you may not like yourself very much. You might be depressed, you might be angry, you might have done something you're not particularly proud of or don't feel good about. And if you examine your motives, you can find these things that you like about yourself. And as you catalog them over time, and come to memorize them essentially and can pull them out at will, you'll be able to create a healthy identity in the now. You'll be able to like yourself more now. And then there's the future part of your identity, and that future identity needs to be focused on things that can be changed, traits that can be modified, not things that can't change. That's a fixed mindset, and you won't go very far with a fixed mindset. So what are the kind of things that you can change about yourself? Well, I mentioned that you can always strive harder. You can become more learning oriented. You can become more transparent. You can become more empathetic. There are lots of things that you can change about yourself. And if you're fixated on the ones you can't change, you will be miserable. So try to shift your focus away from the fixed to the modifiable, the things you actually can change in the future. And as you do this identity makeover, by changing how you perceive yourself now and the things you want to become in the future, you'll be able to move away from a toxic to a healthy identity, and the conversations you have with yourself will change. On to the tip. The tip is to be mindful of your body. So a lot of people, when they get on an exercise machine, just grab whatever the handles are and go to town. And especially with a new machine, this is a really bad idea. One, you're going to want to set the weights low so you can kind of feel what the machine's doing. But my trainer taught me to close my eyes when I first start using this machine and focus on how my muscles feel, which muscles are engaging. If I shift my position, if I lean a little bit forward, what happens? If I lean a little bit backward, what happens? It depends on the machine, but you can kind of just experiment with your positioning and fixating on which muscles are actually being engaged, and you can learn how to use the machine properly, because every machine's a little bit different. Don't just jump on there and pump, 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 pump at high weight. Give yourself a chance to acclimate, understand the dynamics of the machine and how it interfaces with your body. One way to do that is just closing your eyes and just feel it. Move around, change your position, and feel what it's doing to your body. Fighting for your life means creating a new identity based upon what you like about yourself now and things you can change about yourself and improve in the future. Do you think it's possible to shift from a toxic to a healthy identity? In particular, if you don't believe it's possible, I'd like to hear from you in the comments section. I do, because it's happening for me. It's still a process. I can still feel the toxic elements, but I know that my identity is becoming more healthy and grounded in things that I like about myself that are true, and things I want to change about myself in the future that I'm striving towards right now. Thanks for watching my video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe.